Greetings and welcome to Hexed Encountered. I'm Joe. In this video, we'll be doing a first look at one of the games we're doing this month. That is the Great Battles of Alexander, the Macedonian Art of War. This is from the Great Battles of History. This was actually Volume 1, I believe. Yes, it was. Volume 1. Designed, of course, by Richard Berg and Mark Herman, with graphic design by Roger McGowan. And as you can see here on the cover, it says 19 battles between 358 and 207 BC. This is the Expanded Deluxe Edition second printing. I got this in the GMT sale. And thanks to all those P500s I backed last year. So here on the back, we've got our list of all the battles. This does include expansions, things that were in Roger McGowan's C3I magazine, which is expanded for the or updated for the expanded edition rather. The Diadochoi module, which includes more battles, the Phalanx module, and the Raphia module as well. So, and I think Tyrant is in here too, maybe, perhaps. I'm not 100% sure about that. Maybe, yes, it includes the Tyrant module. So there you go. So as you can see, complexity, it is a 6 on their 1 to 9 scale, and the solitaire suitability is a 7. I will probably use the simple battles, simple great battles of history, only because it's easier to do videos on that than trying to do, the full-blown system, which is pretty involved. So this isn't a new game, of course, so some of you may already be familiar with it. So therefore, I am just going to remove the shrink, and we'll get right into what's in the box. Keep it relatively simple here. Okay, let's open the box. So right here, we've got our scenario book with 38 pages. 40, I guess, technically, because you have the designer's notes at the back. So plenty of battles in here. I'll probably go over this a little more when I do my setup for the gameplay. Only because, like I said, I want to keep this reasonably short. The game's not new. This is more of an introduction for those who may not have seen it, or those who will be watching when I do some gameplay on this later this month. So here's the expansion module for Diadochoi. I have no idea if I'm pronouncing that right. I probably am not. But you can see there's 4 more battles in here. Then we have Phalanx. This is a relatively short one. This has 2 battles in it. Then we have Raphia, the Battle of Raphia, 217 BC. Ptolemy IV Philopator, Pharaoh, versus Antiochus III the Great. Got some elephants there. Here is Tyrant. Tyrant is a fairly significant expansion. There is a lot of content in here, I guess you could say, and it does contain the simple Great Battles of History version. So maybe we'll take something from here. It's Carthage versus Syracuse. Then we have our rules manual. So this clocks in at 44 pages. We'll just take a quick spin through here. So you have your introduction. It looked like. All right, that's better. So here we have our introduction. A word on the Expanded Deluxe Edition. This is the 6th edition of the Great Battles of Alexander Rules Manual. Then we've got our game components. 3 22 by 34 map sheets back printed, 3 counter sheets, 840 counters total, a rules booklet, a scenario booklet, 4 player aid cards, 1 turn record card, 1 10-sided die, and a bundle of plastic storage bags. So that's what we'll see. Plus we get these, as we already saw, the module booklets for the 4 expansions. Then you've got your playing pieces here. And this is all pretty standard Great Battles of History stuff here. So you have your some wider units. So these would be Phalanx type units. And you can see unit type class is PH for Phalanx. They're wider, double wide, basically. to kind of indicate that solidity of the unit and the size of it, I'm assuming. Then you have just kind of a regular one here. This is a skirmisher. And of course you have the unit name, its size, which is important in the game. Whether or not it can shock attack, that's why it's in red, because it's a skirmisher, and its movement allowance and its troop quality. All of those are core components of the system, and we'll get into those when we play the game. So then we have our leaders, of course. So you have, here we have Alexander, of course, with his rank, his name, his personal combat rating, his charisma, his initiative, which is very important, and his command range, which is also very important. And then the rear of his, and then of course you have a sample of one of the Persian leaders as well. Alexander has 2 counters. The one with the Kironeia designation is used for that battle. The 3 counter is used for Alexander in all other scenarios where he is present. Informational markers, of course, charts, tables, and dice, terminology. So we'll talk about this as well when we get into gameplay. Combat units and terms. So you have the various types of units here. Everything from your heavy infantry, your hoplites, your phalanxes, all the way down to light cavalry, lancers, heavy cavalry, etc. Plus elephants and chariots and artillery. The game scale. So each point of size denotes 150 to 200 infantry or 100 cavalry. So that's where that size number comes from. The counter shape of a unit represents its frontage. A Macedonian phalanx brigade in full array had a frontage of approximately 130 plus yards. Thus it occupies 2 hexes. There you go. Game length, your sequence of play. You activate your leader. You have an orders phase. You have momentum, route and reload, and withdrawal. Talks about your leaders, leader capabilities, your overall commanders, leaders and wing commanders, leaders and enemy combat units. Then you've got your activation and orders, how you activate your units, the orders phase, momentum, the trump option, elite commander initiative, movement, terrain, movement procedures, 2 hex units such as phalanx, drift to the right, column movement, orderly withdrawal. You've got prearranged withdrawal, stacking, facing and zones of control, or ZOCs, of course, shock requirements, missile combat, shock combat, and there's a lot on shock combat because it is the core type of fighting that you're going to have when 2 units bump up against each other. They have shock combat. The effects of combat, unit route and rally. An optional rule for being engaged. Special units such as war elephants and chariots. Elephants versus cavalry. Skirmishers, light troops, cataphracted cavalry, phalanx and hoplites, double depth phalanx, artillery, cavalry charge formations, army withdrawal and victory. And of course our credits here. Original system designed by Mark Herman, Deluxe Edition designed by Mark Herman and Richard H. Berg. And then you have sources. And then we have our index on the back. So that is your rules manual. Now we have counters. This is the counter sheet for Tyrant. If we take a quick look here, you can see we've got some Campanians, some Etruscans, some Samnites, some Celtic. See, we've got some horse cavalry or heavy cavalry, light cavalry, and Greek mercenaries. Up at the top, you have your leaders. Hasdrubal, Hamilcar. These are obviously Hannibal. These are obviously Carthaginians. So we have that. Then we have here the Great Battles of Alexander Deluxe Sheet 1. So again, you've got your commanders. There's Alexander right there. There's one of his leader counters. There's his other leader counter with CH on it. Of course, you have the units here, some phalanx units. Athens, Thebes. Some other one, you have Philip the Great. I guess is the purple name? No, that's the blue. So a whole lot of different Greek allies. Down at the bottom, you've got some of your markers. Trumped, no momentum. Prearranged withdrawal, elite initiative used, elephants, rampaging, engaged markers, etc. They are double-sided as you would expect. Nice solid general GMT quality counters. Sheet 2. So there are a lot here. We have our Persians here, and you can see some of the Persian units. More markers. Up at the top, we have our Persian leaders. Darius, of course, as well as some of the other Persian leaders. Some levies. Lancers, light cavalry, etc., etc. Plenty, plenty, plenty. Sheet number 3 here. We have more leaders. We have Indians here, I guess. India. Scythia. Or Scythia, maybe? I think. And more markers. The Nubian tribesmen. Okay. Your Scythians, your Indians. And sheet number... Oh, this is an expansion. This is Diadochoi. So you have Antigonus there, Demetrios, etc. Some Thracians, some Macedonians, Athenians, Argos. Some auxiliaries, Eumenids. And we have a sheet for Raphia. And then we have our maps. So there are, I think it said 3 maps in here, 3 map sheets. That's the base game. So this one has Gaugamela on one side, and the other side is Issus. So I don't want to show all the maps, and I'm zoomed in. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can get a better look. These are pretty much standard Great Battles of History maps. Of course, we will see some more about the maps when we get into the gameplay. So here we have several maps for the base game. This one is the Gaugamela expansion map. It's a lot of empty hexes, but there are some terrain. There is some terrain, I should say. This one is pretty empty, actually. But there is some terrain right here for the Ligonus, I suppose, perhaps. And on this side, we've got Pelium with some trees and so on. You do have a terrain key here at the bottom. So these would be our maps. Don't want to mess it up. We got another map here. Mantinea on one side, and another map here. We've got some water on this one. This one is Himera from Tyrant. You have, there's the town. Then we have our player aid cards. So here's card 1. You've got movement cost chart here on this side, Clash of Spears chart, your shock combat result table, your shock superiority, and your missile range and results chart. And then on the back, stacking, the die roll of doom, the elephant rampage table, and your rally table at the bottom. There's a second card, which is identical. Then we have player aid card 2. We'll also have 2 copies of this, which has your leadership checks, your line composition chart, and on the inside, summary of orders and line commands, your command summary chart, cohesion, hit, and troop quality check chart and our troop quality and special checks. And on the back, leader casualty table and the abbreviated sequence of play. And again, we have 2 copies of this as well. Then we have our bonus point tracking card, route points for both sides. And that is that. We get our 1 10-sided die. And that is it. That is the contents of this box. It is a lot. And I'm going to return everything here. And I'm sure that you guys probably want to see the maps, and I will probably, well, when I do a gameplay, you will see the map. I can guarantee you that, but maybe I'll show some of the other maps as well. But that, oops, I almost popped those out, which I have not done yet. That will do it for now. So look for a gameplay video or several, probably more than one, but not too many, coming in the not too distant future as I restack the box here. Again, if you have any questions, comments, etc., feel free to let me know. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and will return for the gameplay of this game or perhaps one of my other offerings here on the Hexed Encountered channel. Please consider liking, sharing, and or subscribing. If you are a subscriber, I do thank you for your support. And until next time, that's going to do it. I'm Joe. This is Hexed Encountered. And as always, happy gaming.